Hello, so we are back on lesson 13 of the 2015 Classroom in a Book, creating artwork for a t-shirt. We're on page 384, working with a perspective grid. So a little bit about perspective. If things are closer to you, they're bigger, and things that are further away appear smaller. Look at the corner of a bedroom, so things kind of narrow in, and they taper off. Thinking about perspective. There's 2-point and 1-point perspective, and actually even 3-point perspective too. And we'll look at a little bit of it today, and we're not going to get too heavy in it, but it's how you can make things look further away. It's a common practice in 2D and 3D design. Definitely think about how to make things look further away. Definitely good to kind of research more if you're looking into more of an art idea. So, what we're going to do is we're going to choose one perspective. I'm going to zoom out. And what we're going to do is select the perspective grid tool in the tools panel. So in your tools panel, there's the perspective grid tool, and replace it here. You may have accidentally opened this before. So this may be actually a little familiar. So we're going to kind of look at it. So up here is your plane switching widget. This is our vertical extender where we can make the top bigger. This is our ruler. It may not have numbers. D is our left vanishing point, because everything ends into a vanishing point. This is 1-2-point perspective, so this would be like an edge of a building. And they would give it a look of depth in a 2D plane. It's a 2D design concept. E is the horizon level. F is the horizon height from here to here. G is the ground level point. I, this guy here, is our grid cell size. J is a right panel control, which is actually on the left side. K is our horizontal panel, and L is our left on the right side. M is our origin. O is our right ground level over here. This is also our vanishing point over here. So using a preset grid, let's go to View, Perspective Grid, 3-point perspective. There's 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to look at 3, and we're going to look at the differences. Kind of goes underneath. And go to View, Perspective, 2-point view, just to see how that looks. Yeah, we're going to break this up in little parts. It's going to be a doozy. So we're going to make sure our smart guides are on. View Smart Guides. Check. Command U. And with the perspective grid tool, position the pointer over the left ground level point. Circle in the figure. So this guy over here. The pointer changes to kind of a crosshair. We're going to move the whole, drag it up to move the whole perspective grid. Max position the figure as closest. So we're just moving it up a little. The left and right ground level points, which are these guys, allow you to drag the perspective grid to a different position on the artboard or to a different artboard altogether. In this example, you don't really need to move the grid since you're creating a perspective artwork that will become a part of an existing artwork on a 2D artboard, to t-shirt artboard. But it's important to understand how to achieve this. So we can zoom in and zoom out and position the pointer over the right side of the horizon line where it shows a vertical arrow. That guy right there. I'm going to drag it down. Let's actually zoom in a little. until we see a measurement of 230 points in gray in the measurement layer. And right there. The closer you zoomed in, the finer increments that you can earn. So next we're going to adjust the plane so we can draw a cube that shows one side more than the other. This requires you to move a vanishing point. So we're going to choose View, Perspective Grid, Lock Station Point. With the Perspective Grid tool, position the pointer over the right vanishing point, circled in the figure. That's the vanishing. And we're going to move it on the x-axis in the horizontal of approximately 11 inches. And mine's actually going to move past this. And it's going to move into the other artboard, and that's totally fine. If you looked, it changes both planes of the grid. In the artwork we create, we're going to have a more prominent right face. Setting the grid up for your drawing is an important step for creating the artwork. You're going to go through these steps to play around with it. I want you to really explore what else you can do with it. It might be a little difficult to understand, but start thinking about perspective. So we're going to go to View, Perspective Grid, Define Grid. It's going to open up this dialog box. We're going to change the units from points to inches. Grid line is every 0.42. Every 0.3. Changing the grid line option can adjust the cell size and help you be more precise where you're laying things out. Notice you can also change the scale of the grid. You might want to do real world measurements if that's involved to kind of practice that. So when you're finished, you're going to click OK. Now when you go to View, Perspective Grid, Lock Grid, so we do not accidentally move it. I'm going to do a Command S to save. Next we're going to do is drawing artwork in perspective. We're going to select the rectangle tool or keyboard shortcut M from the Tools panel. We're going to select the left grid. So we're on right. Our left is in blue, so we're going to click here. And now that's blue to match what we're looking on. And notice there's a little arrow to the left, letting us know that we're on the left grid. So we're going to start at the bottom here where it says intersect. We are going to draw a measurement label of approximately 1.2 and a height of 3.3. There you go. So with the rectangle selected, we're going to change the fill to a dark gray, 70K. We're going to make sure that stroke is none. And there's many different ways to add content to the respective grids. So we're going to change the rectangle a different way. So we're going to click the right grid. We're going to position our pointer over the upper right corner here, this guy there. We'll click triangle where the anchor just drew, where it says anchor. Click the rectangle dialog box, and the width of height is showing. So we're just going to click it once and this opens. We're just going to click OK, and it makes another box. Because of the perspective grid, the box does not look the same. They're exact same size, but because they're on a perspective grid, they look different. We're going to change this color to a lighter gray of K5. And it's going to be a nice lighter color. Make sure that stroke is still none. In this example, you don't need to create a top or bottom of a cube since the top is above the horizon line. We're going to go to View, Perspective Grid, Hide Grid. Right there. We're just do Command S to deselect. And that's going to be it for this video. We're going to do this ones in smaller increments.